her to chime in every now and then.
And she heard there was ice cream today, so she came running.
We are, now, let me just touch base on these shows a little bit, because not everybody gets a chance to fly out to New York. Some people make it a regular procedure every summer. They get to go out and see some shows.
And being able to see a number of shows is not the cheapest thing in the world either.
It really isn't. It's something you got to plan, but it's the reason it's the mecca for theater. It's brilliant productions done with an unbelievable production value, and the thrill of being in the heart of New York lends to that. You know, that's where Times Square is, that's where Central Park is, that's where the Tonys are held, that's where the, you know, all these things, it's just, you're there.
It's the history of it as well. You're not just sitting in a theater in some, you know,
like last
area.
night.
You're sitting in where Laurence Olivier may have preferred.
Let me give you an example. Last night I went to the Smith Center and watched The Conversation with Stephen Sondheim, which, by the way, was brilliant. Okay, Stephen Sondheim is one of my favorite people in the whole world. I like to attribute him to being an icon in my professional and creative life, whatever. But here's the thing. Was it brilliant? It was brilliant. But was it earth-shattering, groundbreaking stuff that I didn't already know? Probably not everything. I mean, I learned a few fun things here and there. But the fact that I was sitting in the same room, breathing the same air as Stephen Sondheim, and he's 85 years old, probably not going to happen again, God bless him. It's one of those things where it's like, it was magic. And it was like, that's what was magic about it. So I'm sure when I say that Peter and the Starcatcher was probably the single most brilliant piece of theater I've ever seen in my life, people are going to go, are you kidding me? Peter and the Starcatcher? But I saw a wonderful production of blah, 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 and it was so much fun. Here's the thing. It was probably because of the magic of New York, the magic of seeing it, the fact that I'm technical director, my wife's directing Peter Pan in the fall, and we're kind of it really. And one of my favorite roles I've ever played was Captain Hook in Peter Pan. There's all these things that added to it, and so when I sat and I watched this brilliant play, and it is a brilliant play. I'm not just saying that because I like Peter Pan, but the book is brilliant.
Oh, I love the book so much.
Oh my gosh, the stage adaptation is brilliant. The performances were brilliant. The venue was indicative to what needed to be for that type of storytelling. It was just brilliant. Like I told Glenn in the parking lot, I said, I sat there in my seat and everyone's applauded and everybody's going away. I just sunk back down in my seat and Emily goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I don't want to leave. It's like I didn't want to leave that world. It was like,
and that's what a director, that's what you want as a director, and myself as an actor.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I want out of a production. You know, I don't need somebody to come up and say, you know, great show. I always appreciate when somebody says that to me, and it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to learn is to accept that. As an actor, I'm always my own worst critic, and when if somebody comes up and says, "Oh, you did a great job," all I'm thinking in the back of my head is, "Oh, but you didn't. I did this thing, you know, whatever."
Yeah, you were here on the night where I did this.
Yeah,
and they don't know how it could have been.
They don't care because they don't see that.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to really just be appreciative.
That's all part of the mentality of being part of an ensemble.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's about the story that you tell.
No, it's always about the story,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
And that's why as
You
an
listening,
actor,
students?
Yeah, that's why as an actor, I want there to be that effect. I had that opportunity a few months back when I did a production of David Mamet's Oleana, because there's a lot of conversation that can come out of that.
Two-person play too.
Yeah,
A lot of pressure.
And that was so fulfilling for me, is to have people just come out and just like, I can't be here right now, but I want to talk to you about this later on.
You have to process it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's, you had the same thing with Iphigenia in Orem.
Yes, and I talked to people about your performance in Oleana and where I was at with the Iphigenia one. I'm glad I didn't see you do that performance. I don't think I could have handled it.
A testament to the value of the story that you told.
We kind of distracted from things, but the whole idea, you know, with Peter and the Starcatcher, I'm envious of that one. You know, Warhorse once, Porgy and Bess. Porgy and Bess is an iconic piece of.
And can I tell you something? I went into that one because we just did a Gershwin musical, Crazy for You, and I knew Gershwin, and I always in my mind have always attributed Gershwin as old school. old school.
Same here.
And Porgy and Bess is old school. And that was part of the conference, so I just said, okay, well, we'll go and I'll check it out and stuff. Well, first of all, Norm Lewis, David Hyde Pierce, and Audra McDonald.
David Hyde Pierce is in it.
You don't understand. This is a man that's not known for theater. He's
Yeah,
in
why do I know that name?
No,
Who
David
is that guy?
David
in Living Color.
No. You're David Allen Greer. You said,
David Allen Greer.
You said
Sorry.
David
Sorry.
Hyde Pierce.
Those
who is a white
hyphenations.
man, and I'm just like, what was he in Porgy and
Yes.
Bess?
Boy, he
was-
really stretched himself there.
He was
David Allen Greer.
He was
I'm sorry.
Niles in Frasier, so
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
can I-
how I know.
yeah.
But it's funny because my wife didn't know he was in it either, and she goes, "That looks like David Allen Greer," and I was like, "It is David Allen." She goes, "Oh," it was pretty funny. But he's not known for theater. I would say that 9 times out of 10, Porgy and Bess is presented as an opera, not a musical theater piece, and usually the character that, and I'm going to mess up his name, but the conniving kind of rooster-like character.
The one that Glenn would play?
The one that Glenn would
If
play
I
if he
Were
was black.
Yeah.
He that's usually played by a musical theater type actor. And so he playing that part, I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting.
David Allen Greer
played that
played that part.
And so, can I just say, I think they got it wrong. He should have gotten the Tony. He was brilliant. He was brilliant. Norm Lewis was brilliant as Porgy, but Audra McDonald.
Audra McDonald is who I would go to see. She's like Kristen Chenoweth, Idina Menzel, just one of those
They're-
you want.
She
you
is
want
the
to go
woman
see.
who's won the most Tonys in Tony history. She's won 5. And there's a reason. There is a reason. There is something about her that you are magnetically attracted to her every move when she's on stage. And I don't want to give too much away, but Bess is a character that's not a particularly...
You don't want to give away Porgy and Bess? Really?
No.
I don't want to give away Annie,
I'll tell you a little bit. Okay, Bess is not a particularly likable character at first because she's kind of a floozy. There's this nose powder that they are sniffing, which is kind of like a precursor to cocaine, and she's not a very nice person.
The tobacco snuff.
No, it's more. It's a powder.
Okay.
And so she's this kind of addicted, not very nice person who's sleeping around and gambling and kind of brashy kind of chicky, and nobody really takes her in when she needs to be taken in when something bad happens. And Porgy, who's a cripple, takes her in. And so all of a sudden they develop this relationship, and you're rooting for him, and I can't. And then there comes a time when she has to make a decision whether she wants to stay with this good life that she's turning herself around, or is she going to go down this path that she's used to. And let me just say,
you're on the edge of your seat.
You are, and we sat in the mezzanine, and you don't want to be on the edge of your seat. You get vertigo. You're looking down. But I was sitting there going, I was breathless, going, don't even do that. Don't even do that. And then, I'm not going to give anything away because there's several turns. But that first time, she does go down this path. And you're just going, no! And then when you
feel the whole audience.
You see how it affects everyone. I just sat there, and I remember I was sitting there watching it. And I remember feeling the tears on the side of my face before I realized I cried. And I went, oh my gosh. And I was like, now I'm a man, I should wipe these away. And I was just sitting there going, wow, that is enthralling. It stunned me. I was like,
I live for those moments. Today,
it was magic.
You went to go see
magic.
Sondheim, this talk.
Yeah, the talk in conversation.
I went to go see Putting It Together this afternoon. With Ragtag, and
that was at the Smith Center.
It was in the Jazz Cabaret, which is a really beautiful little space. And a 5-person cast, and it's a review, REVIEW, and
a review.
There are moments, and
that's not true. It's VUE.
No, but specifically for Putting It Together, it's a review because it's a number of different songs from other Sondheim productions weaved together to form a different story.
Right.
And I've been fortunate enough to be involved in a couple of Sondheim productions, and so this was Sweeney Todd mixed with Company, mixed with Assassins, and Company, and I wholeheartedly am angry that I wasn't able to see.
Same here. I hear it was great.
Shout
out to Eiler, Kelly, and everybody involved.
Yeah, but there's a couple of songs in there. "Marry Me a Little" is just this. For me, it's a personal song for some reason.
Yeah.
and that was sung today as part of putting it together. And I was moved a little bit, but they did "Being Alive," and it was and I got chills, and I didn't cry. I'm a man, so I didn't cry.
Excuse me.
No,
real men wear pink.
You know what? If I move to tears, then I know it's that's where I'm emotionally moved. Like Mikey was saying in the last segment, and getting chills. That's something I love about any performance of anything. And they just finished that, and I'm sitting there just like.
Have you ever watched a show, and as you're sitting in the audience, and Kelly, I'm going to ask you this too. Have you ever watched a show and been so caught up in it, or loved it so much, or really identified with it to the point to where after it's over and you're back to reality and it's theater, and you're a patron walking out the door, on your way out the door you thought, oh, man, I would love to be a part of that. I would sweep the stage floor. I just want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Have you ever felt that way about a show?
Yes.
Can I just put into your head 5.5 days of that?
Oh.
I mean, everything about everything I saw, I said, I just would love to be a part of that.
Do you do that? And I'll ask this to you directly. Don't you do that for every show that you go see?
I try to make.
I did that last night. I went to go see Great American Trailer Park.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there watching all my friends up there, and I was like, I want to be in that.
Yes, and you can't help it when you kind of fall in love with a character and the way that.
Well, I am in love with one of the characters.
Well, actresses.
Actresses. Yes, sorry.
Yes. Well, as you're watching and you pick that one that you're just, oh, I'm so enthralled with you. Oh my goodness, I would do this character. I would make a choice. I would make a different choice there. But that's what would make us different in making that character. Yeah. But yeah, that's
well.
Really
and we've got Kelly who's going to read some shows that are going on. But I was talking during the segments, talking with Troy Tinker, because the set designer for Oliver, same set designer for Trailer Park. And the Trailer Park, it's a fun show. It's a bit raunchy.
It's over at Las Vegas Little
Theater.
LVLT.org.
But to me, that is a show that has some legs to run in this town. And I really hope that that's one that somebody goes, that would go great in this space, and it could be a long-running show here in Vegas.
Well, we're going to have to take a quick break here. You're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball. We're here with Glenn Heath and Keriann Parks and intern Kelly, and we're talking about theater in general. We had an opportunity to see a lot of shows in the last couple weeks, and we're just kind of talking about it and what you can go out and see yourself, or how you can get more committed to performing arts here in the community and beyond. So,
we've got Kelly to do that when we come back.
Yeah, and she's going to tell us. We're going to actually connect it to the community and what you can see in the next upcoming days and weeks. And so, hang tight, and we'll be back after just a second.
Hey, it's Andrew Keenan Bolger. I play Crutchy in Newsies, and you're watching Curtain Call with Erik.
I just listened to the new soundtrack for. I just listened to this last week.
This makes me think of all of you guys at Mellows singing it over and over. Wonderful.
I've never seen the movie Newsies.
Yeah,
I've listened to the music because Alan Menken, did the music for the original. And so I finally listened to Broadway, and it's like.
Sweet tomatoes food
Because the girl sounds like Kristen Chenoweth to me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sweet tomato
And it's still the original cast.
What's funny is that they've had to, when they went out of workshopping, they went from here to here. They had to eliminate 4 roles. Harvey Firestein was talking about this, and he says,
Was he in the show?
He was a writer of the book and producer.
Oh, okay.
And so he was talking about how these boys have become a family. And he goes, and having to eliminate 4 roles simply because of money. It's money, money, money. He says he pulled them aside, and he had these conversations, and he goes, and every one of them, they had a moment where they all just cried, and they got through it together. They said, it's the business. He says, it sucks sometimes. He goes, but from the people that survived to Broadway, they have this thing, not a single one has dropped or been replaced since the opening, and there's only been 7 that have missed a performance the entire time.
Wow.
That's
seems
unheard of.
Well, it seems like a fun show.
Yeah.
They're kids too, for the most part. I'm sure they're early 20s still.
Yeah.
Even though they're playing much younger. But yeah, that's you don't don't want to give that up.
No.
Because
Especially
that,
when you got it.
Yeah, when that stuff comes around, you know, most people that are wanting to do that pray for that.
Yeah, this is their dream.
Yeah, it's not like they're Nathan Lane where it's like, oh, I'm going to do this for, you know,
Yeah.
6 months, but I've got something else that I'm going to do because I'm Nathan Lane. And God bless him. I mean, I'd love to be Nathan Lane, sort of.
Got about 30 seconds.
I don't want to be.
Do you want to bring us in and say, you're listening to Curtain Call with Eric? Well, we're going to send you over to Kelly, and she's going to talk about upcoming things or something. Or,
Everyone's welcome.
you want to do it? You want to do it, Glenn? You want me to do it? I'll play another a stinger after the stinger.
Yay.
And if you bring the kids 12 and under, Monday through Friday, they eat.
That's funny.
Everybody's invited to ride a mechanical boat for fantastic food, drinks, and a great...
No, don't do it.
65, 90
No more.
It's the hay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Governor.
749.
Is that show still out there?
Hey, this is Julia Murney, and you are absolutely listening to Curtain Call with Eric Ball. Don't stop listening.
Welcome back. You're listening to Curtain Call. This is Eric Ball with Glenn Heath and Keriann Parks and intern Kelly. And Glenn.
Well, you're throwing it at me.
Ready, set, go!
Yeah, because we already talked about it before the break, and then they're like, oh, Glenn, you're going to go ahead and do the intro, and then you go ahead and do the intro.
And I ended up doing it. I'm just...
Now what do you do
Wow.
today?
I like
So let me throw it over to Glenn so Glenn can throw it over to Kelly. We're playing catch over here with the microphones. But we've got some audition information and some currently running shows.
We're going to do
so,
this because we're big fans of intern Kelly.
yes. Oh, yeah, you
fans.
can't see what we're doing unless you're watching the video
YouTube
that's
video.
going to be on YouTube. So.
Yes, and like us on Facebook. Curtain Call with Eric Ball. Like us. Anyways, sorry.
Okay, so Ragtag Entertainment is having auditions for Seussical the Musical. Open auditions for adults 18 and up are Friday, July 20th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Dance Zone in Henderson, Nevada. Please prepare a short comedic monologue, 1 minute or less, and 16 to 32 bars of an up-tempo Broadway number. Dance-only auditions will be accepted, and they will also be accepting submissions for technical and deck crew. If you have any other questions, please email SeussicalLV@gmail.com.
And this is an extension of their audition.
They mean business because they made a Gmail
Yeah, because their
account.
first audition was actually today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yesterday and today, I think. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And so they've extended them.
The
There's
things
there's
you can do.
if you're on Facebook, there's some information out there as well for some because I think you can do video submissions too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's when you email them and they give you information and whatnot.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. And Surgo Theater Movement is holding auditions for Hamlet. The only information that this has is that it's on Sunday, July 29th at 2 p.m. and Monday, July 30th at 7 p.m. And for more information, I guess you just email johnb@insurgotheater.org.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I know they're doing some fun stuff with that version of Hamlet, so
Yeah.
should be lots of fun.
Troy Hurd is directing it, and he's currently director for Trailer Park, the Great American Trailer Park.
Watch me Brown knows.
The musical.
Anytime Troy Hurd's at the helm of a project, you want to be involved. Booyah! 10 points to Gryffindor. No, 10 points to
Hufflepuff.
baby.
Yes,
we did the
thank
sorting
you.
hat thing. Apparently, I'm a Hufflepuff.
No
What the
good
heck?
wizard comes out of Hufflepuff.
Can I tell you something? Nobody dies in Hufflepuff either, okay?
Yeah.
Cedric Diggory, hello.
Cedric Diggory? Who's that?
Robert Pattinson's character.
Yeah. Twilight guy,
He is
Edward.
the only main character that comes out of Hufflepuff,
Oh my
and then he
gosh.
dies. So
I was just being silly. I really don't care. Let's talk about
Okay.
Twilight.
I do, but let's talk about it after.
So Oliver opened on July 11th at Spring Mountain Ranch, and it runs Wednesday through Saturday through the 28th. Also, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat
Woo!
opens August 8th.
Holla.
So excited.
What?
Glenn and I are in that production. There we
Oh,
go.
that's
I said
right.
it.
But we won't be interviewing each other. That would just be awkward.
We gotta
So,
have
what do you
Jen.
think about the show?
I don't know, what do you think
about it? Oh, I thought it was pretty good.
I want Jen to come on here. She plays the narrator and
Does she?
narrate everything that we're doing in song.
I
Oh, that's
think that's what we need to
Perfect.
do.
That's
Jen,
hilarious.
you're slated to come on now. You have to come on.
Yes.
All right, what's up next?
Sing.
Leader of the Pack opens on September 6th and goes through September 22nd. Great American Trailer Park the Musical opened on Friday, July 13th at LVLT. And
I think that's good right there.
Yeah.
Thank you, and guys. If you want any more information, just hit up the internet. There's a lot going on in Vegas. You can usually Google the local theater companies in town. Super Summer Theater is doing an awful lot. There's still 3 shows to go. We still have Oliver this weekend and next. It's just a whole freaking cornucopia.
I do want to give one little mention to the show opening at the Onyx Theater next Friday, next fall.
Oh yes, that's right.
And that's opening next Friday. So I want to give a little shout out to my friends Nick, Thomas, and Rick that are in that show, and Aaron.
Elizabeth. Aaron Matthews.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, she's gonna be so
Liz.
mad when she hears that.
Sorry, Liz.
And it's Nick King, not Nick Prince, but that's
What
hilarious.
did I say?
Nick Prince.
Why did I say Nick Prince?
I don't know.
Is it Nick Duke?
Nick King, he's been promoted.
What?
I love you, man. I love you. Okay, well, anyways, and next fall is a great. I don't know if it won the Tony, but it was definitely nominated for the Tony, and it's a brilliant play.
Straight play, right?
Straight play. Well, it's about a gay character, but it's a straight play, and it's very, very.
And it's I think
very
it's
good.
It's a benefit for.
And it's a
Sin City
play.
Sisters.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a mixture. It's oh.
Well, when I can relate to a show, and if it's in some way going to make me sad, my friends now know who are in the show to let you know, like, okay, brace yourself, prepare, know that afterwards we will hug, and then it's
You go
okay.
see Agnes of God. Now you're gonna want to bring a tissue, hon. Just saying, it's just gonna. All right. Well, listen. We were talking about Broadway. We were talking about what's going on in local Las Vegas theater news. We've been out and seeing lots of shows. I just mentioned how Peter and the Starcatcher over in New York justifiably won a bunch of Tonys recently, and it's bloody brilliant.
So get out there. Go to New York.
I got a fun story. This is a testament to how all-inclusive New York can be too once you're there. I mean, it's an island for one. I mean, Manhattan is an island, but more so, it's all walks of life coming together and working in a such close proximity that you all become part of the same mentality. You know what I mean? For instance, our guest speaker.
That's a good thing. Just
can
want
I
to
tell you
clarify.
It's a positive
Can I
mentality.
tell you something? It's really, really, really good. Because it's a creative vibe. It's an energy of a progress-oriented energy, and everybody's a part of it. Like, we were just in a workshop, and our guest speaker was Harvey Fierstein. Now, here's the thing: I won't do the obligatory Harvey Fierstein.
Why
voice.
not?
Thank you.
I know.
Okay.
I automatically did
Yeah.
too when he was talking earlier.
So
That's just his stage voice. He has a very.
it's very smooth like butter. No, but can I just say, he talks, shoots from the hip, boy. He says what is on his mind. But talk about an intelligent, passionate man. He made a
very
huge...
accomplished too.
Are you kidding me? Probably one of the most decorated...
decorated veterans of
veterans
Broadway
of
war
theater ever.
history.
But he really is. It was fascinating to listen to him just talk about how he came to be where he is today, and then afterwards, everybody in the room wanted to meet him. You know, and it was funny because he was so giving with his testimony that when people kind of gathered around him, he kind of turned and you could see his bristles go up a little bit, like I'm not, I don't know. And so he kind of slinked out of the room. And I was like, well, we probably better let him go. This is kind of rude, you know. He's giving them his time. And then when he walked out on the street, we were all breaking for lunch too, so we were all kind of all one of the same group. Walked out on the street, and he just kind of walked down the street, just like a normal human being. It's like we kind of.
Well, he is a normal human being.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying is that we put these celebrities on a pedestal so often. When you look at, I mean, how many freaking top of the news story articles did we hear about Tom Cruise's split with what's her butt? Who cares? I mean, who really cares? They're a human being just like you and me. They live and breathe. They eat. They drink. They do their thing. And it was really. That's what I love about New York is because you all got a job to do. You got places to go. You got to do things to do. Everybody's in that same pool. And so that was really cool. And when we were, my wife and I were walking to the theater to see Once, the musical, which is.
I hear they're doing a sequel. Twice.
Thank you. I let it go. And we were walking. We got there about a half an hour early, so we went around the block to get a drink and just kind of chill for a little bit. And on our way, my wife tapped me on the shoulder very innocently and just pointed right next to me. And Steve McKee, who won the Tony for Best Actor in his performance, and was the lead in this. mega Broadway superstar, standing right there on the sidewalk, talking on his phone. And I was just like,
Shouldn't you be backstage? Shouldn't you be getting ready for the show?
But it
just
was like,
paid money to go see.
Anybody who's ever seen like a celebrity, though, you do that double take, you kind of go, am I really looking? Because you don't want to screw up. You don't want to go up to some stranger and go, hey, I really liked you in Die Hard, and it's not Bruce Willis. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like...
Why would you pick that?
I don't know why.
Because did you go up to
Because I admitted
somebody?
that I cried in Porgy and Bess. I'm going to maintain my man card.
I cried in Die Hard when you said catchphrase.
But anyways, so my wife walks up to him and goes, we're about ready to see your show, so break a leg. And I was just like, you could have said a million different things. Like
get in there?
Hey,
shouldn't you be in wardrobe?
We're your biggest fan, you. You know, we could have, but she was so, hey, you know, and shook his hand, and it was really cool. And then when we saw him in the show a half an hour later, it was, there was a little bit of, it was surreal.
Was he still drinking his coffee and talking on his phone?
No, he had an Irish accent. So it was very, very cool. You know, that's what I love about New York, though. It's just, you know, I think anybody who forgets that it's about the story, that it's about what you're trying to do with the role within the piece as a completed ensemble in the production. You know, anybody who forgets that that's what it's about. It's not about you. You know, and I think that's for the most. I don't know. These people have their own journeys and stuff, and people know them better than I do.
I would argue just a little bit. I mean, what you're saying with regards to theater, you know, that's a lot different than not everyone can get to New York to see. I have no idea who you were talking about.
Yeah.
Whereas you mentioned Tom Cruise, I know who he is because I've seen his movies, because his movies are prolific and they're all over and they're easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that level of celebrity. It's like you walking around Las Vegas. I mean, people know who you are. Those of us in the theater community know who
Oh my gosh, it's Erik Paul!
Yeah, and I've stood next to you drinking a cup of coffee, talking on my cell phone, and it's a state of mind too, because I think theater performers and theater actors are different, and not only and I don't mean to
like
say
appreciation of the art.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't want to say that film actors don't have that same appreciation, but it is a different process,
it's a different medium.
And it's a different structure. You may film the ending scene 2 months before you film the beginning scene, and you never do it from
There's
beginning.
Something visceral about live theater. You could mess up pretty bad.
You don't have an audience for film.
At the talkback, we had talkbacks at the workshop, and after the talkback of once, they said, "Have you ever gotten so wrapped up in the song? Because it's very moving music." Have you ever been moved to tears to the point to where you were unable to physically perform? And he says, I'll tell you one thing. Some nights it's easier than others. Other nights, I am singing that song through tears and snot. Because I'll tell you right now, sometimes it is hard. And he goes, but you do it. Because it's your job.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, very interesting.
But, you know, those are some of the best moments, too. When I did Damn Yankees a couple of summers ago, I was going through a separation, and singing Goodbye Old Girl was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so, you know, not only all the rehearsals, but the 12 performances where there's thousands of people out there. Yeah.
Dude.
Snot and tears, sure.
But the audience doesn't know that. But can I tell you something?
No, but that's for the role that it was. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe Boyd is not a large role, and there are no small roles. Or, whatever the phrase is. I'm grateful for the opportunity, because that was my first show out at the ranch.
Yeah,
and I want to always do a show out there.
Yeah.
But one of the hardest roles I've ever had to do, and it wasn't that large of a role, but that song killed me to have to sing it, because it was real life.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to have to wrap things up
On
here.
a down
Jeez
note.
Louise.
Yay!
I think the
Did I
whole
tell you about
point-
that story when my dog died?
It's tragic. Let's open with that. We're going to probably have more opportunities in weeks to come to talk about just general ideas and thoughts regarding the arts and how it affects us personally, and how it might affect you if you ever were to get involved. We hope that you're listening to this show because you're either a part of the theater community here in Las Vegas, you're either an actor, director, part of the creative team, or you're a patron who enjoys theater, or maybe you're thinking about getting involved. Whatever category you happen to fall into, I encourage you greatly to get involved in community theater here in Las Vegas. Get your butt in a seat, watch a show, support these organizations who are passionate about their work, because I don't care if it's a high school production or if it's a community theater production, or go watch Oliver over at Super Summer Theater this weekend. Whatever you're doing, you need to make sure that you're actively involved, because I feel very much refreshed and reborn having seen these shows. Glenn is feeling reborn having seen these shows, and Keriann is feeling reborn because she is Keriann.
Yeah, constant rebirth.
I would like to say thanks to our producer Chris Scott. Thank you to intern Kelly, Glenn Heath, Keriann Parks, the cast and the director of Oliver who joined us. Thank you so much. We hope you have a great week. Join us next week for Curtain Call with Erik Ball at 6 p.m. on Sunday.
You're going to be here next week?
I'll be here next week.
Great.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Have a good week. I had to get out.
Don't say the F word. Nobody say the F word.
Okay.
Why would I say the F word?
I don't know. Because now that I know that it's still going.
Oh, that doesn't count. No, the F word is... I don't have some like compulsion or Tourette's or anything.
Okay, yeah, figure it out.
God, can you imagine a DJ or a radio host having Tourette's?
Well, you know, Glenn, because of the work that I do, and I work with 0 to 6-year-olds all the time, I get in my car and I seriously sit down and go,
Keep it tuned right here to the
because I
sports
can.
voice of Las
And I just
Vegas.
have to get it all
AM
out. So,
14
No, I understand.
KSHP.
But this is
North
not one of
Las Vegas.
This doesn't give me
Ed
that
Gillespie,
kind of
speaking
feeling.
on CNN's
When
State
I
of
used
the
to get the
Union,
feeling
was
you
responding to
smoke.
an Obama campaign official
Okay, now we gotta do the
might be
musical
guilty
number.
of a
This is
felony if he
this is like the
misrepresented his
extras
position in
portion of the
paying
DVD.
capital to federal regulators.
Here we go.
Safety
Come
experts say
see
don't
yourself.
stand under a tree during a storm.
Come see yourself. Part of the family. First two.
During a thunderstorm in Houston.
Very nice.
Third man was injured.
All right.
This is IRN
Thank
USA
you.
Radio
Thank you.
News.
Appreciate it, Chris. All right, let me get you the
Great
CD.
news, cigar
brother.
smokers. FamousSmoke.com is offering $10
Yeah, I slowly
off
clear
your
out.
order.
Go watch the show from 2 weeks ago.
Just visit FamousSmoke.com.
Alexa and Sarah do it way better than.
Did they sing Consider Yourself?
Yes.
Radio 10.
Bye. Get a picture of us too. Hang on. Hang on.
Save
Get
by
in here,
ordering
man.
your cigars online.
Yay!
FamousSmoke.com is
Curtain call.
with the best deals around on all your favorite brands.